Welcome back, everybody. A new statewide ranking is putting Texas history and modern culture under the spotlight. The Chron.com is revealing its Texas 250 list of the most influential people since 1776. Who would you put on that list? Here to talk more about it is Wes Wilson, executive editor of Chron.com. Thanks for joining us, Wes.
Yeah, it's great to be here.
Okay, this is a big one. Now, the whole list is not out yet.
It did, yep. We actually released it early. We were going to hold it, but yeah, we released it.
We have the top 10 that we really wanted to talk about, right? You've got 250, so there's a lot to get through. Before we get to that top 10, what went into selecting these people? What are we taking into account here?
So the methodology, it's tough because you're trying to rank musicians and people who invented life-altering medical devices along with presidents, and so we know that there's going to be a lot of debate and people are going to say, you got it wrong, but that's what we want. We want people to really be able to look at it and learn a little bit about Texas history because as we talk about America's 250th, it's going to be such an East Coast story, but you can't tell the America story without telling the Texas story. So we really wanted people to be able to look at Texas and know how much, our state contributed to America.
Okay, so this is not any sort of readers deciding. This is your list.
We've been asking readers for the last month, and so that's influenced a little bit of the list, but we're also going to be putting out some of the readers list as well.
Dun, 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 dun. Let's go to the top 10, shall we? Okay, let's do it. And here we have them on our screen. Walk us through some of these big names. Number one on the list.
So Lyndon Johnson ended up being number one for us. When we looked at it, it was really tough to argue anyone else. I mean, even the things that you may not know about, like he built the dams in Central Texas that help prevent all the massive flooding in that area, the rural electrification throughout Texas, and those are things you might not know about. The things you do know about probably, NASA, and being in charge of that, how much he's done for building all the
Johnson Space Center,
right?
Yep.
All the bases across the state.
We've got Sam Houston coming in the number 2 spot. Hard to argue with that when we look at Texas history. Number 3. This is going to be controversial. You're going to be either yes or a no on this one. Beyonce?
Yeah, I think the things that people are going to be either mad or happy about, we have Beyonce above some presidents, but the cultural influence, was really tough to counter there.
And Willie Nelson right behind her, which is interesting. Before we get to Stephen F. Austin, George W. Bush is one of those presidents you're talking about, and then H.W. is right behind him. And you've got, I thought this was interesting. We have more performers, but then we've got Michael Dell because we're talking about technology as well. Yeah,
what he did to make kind of, a Silicon Valley of Texas was huge. And then even some of the other names that we hope people, if you don't know them, once you see what they did on our site, like, Jack Kirby inventing the integrated circuit, the microchip essentially. Right after that, I think in maybe 11 or so, you're like, oh, okay, that makes sense why he's so high.
Yeah, and Barbara Jordan, again, we're talking about the deep history of Texas and the richness of it. What was behind the goal here, creating this 250 most influential?
Yeah, like I mentioned, we wanted to do something around the 250th, but again, it's such an East Coast story, and we really wanted to tell the Texas story and really allow people to, look at some of these big figures. Again, it goes all the way to 250, so there's a lot of names. And then once we were copy editing that yesterday, in the past week, it really stands out. Those 10 names you see, there's 25 times more than that.
Right, and I think that's part of it, is that this is not a top 10, this is a top 250, and you probably still had some that you wanted on that list you weren't able to fit.
We had 400 names, and we were just trying to come up with names and then whittle it down, and so it really was a massive project, and we had a lot of stress testing to make sure that it wasn't just, there was no regional bias, or anything like that, so that somebody in Dallas isn't like, what are you guys doing there, in Houston, and then also that there wasn't just one group that wasn't accounted for, whether that was, the business folks or somebody like that we have people who were authors, and we really try to take account of everything.
In everything. Chron.com, the list is live right now?
It's live right now, and you can always find it at chron.com/Texas250. It's going to live there, for hopefully forever.
And you know what? This is a great way to spark some debate around the dinner table, around those family gatherings over the 4th of July. Wes, thank you.
Appreciate you.
Really appreciate you coming in. Come back and talk to us anytime. And Cheetah, there's going to be a lot to talk about this one. it might be a good debate as you're trying to stay inside and avoid the heat outside.
It is a